Hello and welcome to the 35th day of the Becoming Show. Wow, I couldn't believe it. So I've done 16 English episodes. This is my 17th, and I've done 18 Vietnamese episodes. And the difference is due to the wildcard days. And also on April 30th, I did a special sharing on on the on the memorial of the day that South Vietnam lost the war and why millions of Vietnamese fled Vietnam and now we're all over the world. And I shared the story of that on April 30th because that day has a lot of meaning to our country, to our people who have to leave Vietnam. And so that's the reason why we have 18 episodes of Vietnamese and 16 of English. And of course, today is a wildcard day. And so it's in English just to catch up on the English side. And you know what? Today I wanted to do a recap and a share behind the curtain to reveal number one, what I learned, the things that I expected, as well as the unexpected lessons. Because I think this is very powerful for those of you who are thinking of doing something, thinking of launching something. And if you're stuck anywhere, this show you don't want to miss. Now, in terms of the first month, so I launched March 30th, and April was the month that I only did the lives. I haven't posted any of the videos that are edited. Because you know what? It took a lot longer to edit them than I thought. Even though I have a VA who basically just works on this. One challenge was she had some health issues, and that's why she had to pause for 2 weeks. And now she's back. But still, even then, the bottleneck isn't her. Like she has done 8 videos just waiting for me to approve and to finalize it. So the bottleneck is actually me watching the content. And the reason I needed to check it is because this is all new. So I wanted to have some final check before we release the videos. So the lesson that I learned, the first lesson is that number one, the month of April was all lives. And the metrics, the tracking was terrible in terms of live videos. Okay, on Facebook, I can't really track because on Facebook, it's really hard to track on there because I have so many friends, and I don't know. But on YouTube, I can track. And the reason the whole show is on YouTube is because I wanted this to be long-term content. I want this to be evergreen content. And Facebook, it's gonna air today and then a couple days later it'll be lost, right? So that's the reason why I don't count on Facebook. I don't count Facebook views at all in this process, in this launch of the Becoming Show. So I only measure on YouTube for now until I see a reason, unless I'm doing some kind of marketing and Facebook ads or Instagram ads, then that'll be a different story. But for now, I'm just sharing the numbers behind the YouTube. So here's the terrible news for me. But this is expected. So this is first I'm sharing what's expected, and then I'm sharing what's not expected. Okay. So the first thing that I expected was crickets, as in nobody sees it and nobody opts in. Because number one, nobody knows me, and my content probably isn't that great either, because I do have this learning curve. Even though my guest speakers, my experts are amazing, the problem is I haven't learned, or at this point, I purposely didn't do any kind of SEO or anything to attract the right audience. And even then, my other lesson that I learned is because I didn't get really clear on who my audience is for this show. I wasn't clear. And that's the reason why the month of April was my worst it could ever be. And I knew that. I knew that coming in, and I wanted to give it a full month, because then if I did it too short, then it might be, oh, I didn't do it enough. But you know what? 35 days is enough data to show that what I've been doing is terrible. I gotta change the format, not the format of the show, but the marketing, the SEO, the AEO. SEO means search engine optimization, and AEO means answer engine optimization. By the way, AEO is what's all the AI tools is doing. So it's answering questions for you, and I want it to be on that. So all of this is next month. Well, this month it's May. So today's Sunday, tomorrow, starting on Monday, we're going to start doing something different with our show. And also, we're going to start posting our edited videos as part of our daily release. Because so far, we've already had the daily lives, but not the daily edited versions yet. And now with the edited versions, it's going to have SEO, it's going to have the right thumbnail and the right hook and all that. Because right now, all the live contents have nothing, nada. And that's done on purpose because I want to show you the journey, the process of how to do it right. Okay, so my team is going to ramp it up and change the format starting tomorrow. Now, one more thing I wanted to share. Of the past 35 days, there were 2 days that I did not go live. And that was, well, 3 days actually. That was one day that I went to Edmonton to visit a friend who's in her last stage of cancer. And I'm so grateful I did that because she just passed away 3 days ago. And if I didn't decide to go on that day, I would have missed the opportunity to say goodbye. Although at that time, we didn't know it was a goodbye because I was planning to come back and visit her again and help her write a book. But that's not happening. But you know what? She's going to be in our heart. She's an amazing person. And I'm very grateful that I got to go and say goodbye to her that one time. The second and the third day that I didn't go live was yesterday and Friday, the day before yesterday. And that was because I was at a fundraising event. We had a gala where we were fundraising for our scholarship foundation. And you know what? I forgot to post that I was at a fundraiser. I completely forgot. But the day before, I actually posted on Friday that I had a mix up with my speaker where she thought that it was the following week. So it was just a mix up. And when you do live shows, any mix up means that either you don't do it, you just wait till when the guest is on, or I would just have to share something else. And the problem is on that day, on Friday, I was feeling, I don't know, I think it was 33 days at that point. And I was feeling a sense of kind of what's the point of all this? And I was in that sad, depressing mode. And I could have gone on and shared that feeling. But the problem is, I was afraid. I was afraid to actually share that today, number one, I screwed up because I didn't remind my speaker, my guest expert, sooner, and I just assumed that she'll show up. So my fault, and then I was also, so I was mad at myself for that, and then I was also wondering, what am I getting out of this, doing this show? And I didn't have a good answer because at that time I was feeling not good. And I knew that if I went on and share, either I would deflate myself even further, or I would discourage other people from taking this first step. And I didn't want to risk that because If I could do it right, I could actually be vulnerable and share honestly how I felt on that day. But I was afraid. I was afraid that I would, number one, cry, which I definitely would have. And number two, I was afraid that I would not be able to turn it around as a lesson. And so that's why today is a day to do that. And I'm glad that I bounced back pretty quickly, and I know exactly what to share today because I still remember the feelings, the emotions that I was feeling on that Friday when I could have gone on and shared um, that exact moment where I felt like, maybe I should have done this, but I was afraid. So, and today is the share about all of that, plus how I rebounded. And the reason why I'm sharing today is because I know that I can still go back to that moment, which I did. I just did. I got emotional because I felt like a failure. But I knew that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I knew that I can see it already. And I knew why I'm doing this. Versus on that Friday, I wasn't sure if I knew what I was doing. And that's the reason why I couldn't share on that day. So my apologies for bailing on Friday and Saturday. Well, Saturday I had a good excuse because Saturday I was at a fundraising event. I couldn't. I was there to do a few things there. So today is the day that I want to share uh, behind the curtains of the last 35 days. And again, I came on late because of the just family things, dinner and stuff. And I was like, I because I had to get that ready before I could jump on and share. Because honestly, this share, I don't know how long it's going to be. So I want to get all of that done. So one of the first lesson that I expected to learn was that the numbers, it was crickets, right? Views was terrible. I think we got like 0 views on a couple of live shows, and a few others got 5 or 8. I think the maximum was 8, um, and um, and we have a few 2 and 3s of all the 35 shows that we've had, and these 35 shows were between English and Vietnamese. The second thing that I've learned is the timing, the time that I chose to run these live shows is not a best time because I thought I could do it at 7 to 8 my time, mountain time. Because, after working hours, 5 o'clock, all the kids are at home and I can just reserve this time just to talk. But I realized that I need to make this show part of my work and not going into my family time because it is interfering with my family time. It is interfering with my sleep because there's so much more happening after the shows. So I've decided, starting as soon as possible. So all the clients, not clients, all the guest experts that I've already booked, we already booked it for 7 p.m. But at some point, we're going to switch it to a daytime. So our live time is going to be during the working hours for me, which is from 9 to 5. And I'll pick a time and I'll announce the change in time very soon. But what that means is if any one of you who wants to catch it live, then that'll be the live time. But otherwise, you can always catch the replay, which I don't know how long it's going to come out, to be honest, because it's a bit slow with the editing process. That I've also learned. So that's another lesson that I've learned. But that was also kind of almost expected, although not that delayed. So in terms of the timeline, I've learned that for doing a show like this, it's a big commitment. It's a big commitment to do it daily. And my commitment is to do it for 90 days. But I'm going to do it in terms of, I'm going to break it down into three phases. Phase one is just raw. There's no SEO, there's no prep, there's no nothing with my channel. And the result is pretty terrible as expected, because that's part of the I wanted to show that. I want to see 35 days of daily lives, and it didn't do anything. So then the next month, which is this month, May, we're going to do the same thing. Daily shows, unless I have to miss a couple of things due to things. But you know what? I've also learned that people won't even know that I don't go live, because number one, it's not promoted that much yet. So I actually don't need to to announce that today there's no show, because nobody knows. So for the purpose of the following days, I'm just gonna keep quiet if I don't go live. And if someone catches it and they actually message me and ask, hey, how come you don't go live today? I will probably give them a prize. You know why? Because that deserves a prize. Because number one, I appreciate that kind of following. And what that means to me is they value what I share. And if I don't share, then it's they miss it. Because this is kind of like I don't know about you, but did you ever, when you were growing up, did you ever watch a show that's daily, whether it's a talk show or whether it's a movie or a soap opera or anything that you watch daily and you get addicted to it? Oh, I remember those days. I remember watching Oprah at, I think it was either 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. I forgot the time now. I remember watching soaps like Days of Our Lives or The Young and the Restless, like a couple of them. I don't watch them all the time, but I remember watching a few. And then I remember watching like these weekly shows like The Pretender. Oh, I love that show so much, because and I look forward to watching it every week. But the problem is I hate the commercials. We have to go through, the all the ads in the show. So that's why I wanted to do a daily show for that purpose, because I wanted to become part of your life. I wanted to become like, this is your passing time. This is when you watch and listen when you're driving home, or when you're at a line waiting somewhere, because you just want to be part of, you just want me to be part of your life somehow. And for some reason, I wanted to see if that has an effect on, number one, my life, because I have to show up for that. I definitely have to grow a lot. This past 35 days, I grew so much. There was so many lessons, expected and unexpected. So I knew for a fact that this journey, the Becoming Show, is exactly the name it should be, because I'm becoming version 2.0. I'm becoming a better version of myself every day as I sharpen my saw. So the expected, another expected lesson uh, with the last 35 days is, okay, so sorry, the last one was the time frame doesn't work, so I'm going to have to change that as soon as all of my guest experts have been rescheduled to the new time. So I'll announce all the changes so that you know. And then I also expected that the last month there will not be a lot of it would be bad performance, as in views and subscribers and all that. But this month, May, this is going to be the month that I'm going to start doing the right things for my channel. And you will see the difference. And I'm going to explain to you how I did it in the following third month in June, okay? Because I need to do the monthly wrap up report for you. And that was the entire purpose of this 90 days commitment, because I wanted just enough time to give us some concrete proof, enough to for me to know what I want to do next, but not too long. So 90 days to me is a perfect time frame. It's 1/4 of a year. And being an accountant or a former accountant, that is expected. Like a quarter is so easy to put your face down and work hard. So this month has been that among all the other stuff. But one more uh, confession is in May and in June, I will be dropping the balls probably more than 3 times in the past 35 days, only because I have a lot more pre-booked camps and events that I already have to be available for. And so that's why I cannot escape do those things now, unless I can change the time to a different time where it works. So we'll see how things are with the timing and all that. But I do know that there's a couple of days that the evenings I'm unavailable, even on the weekends as well, for due to camps, scout camps and stuff like that. Being a scout leader is an amazing experience, but it is also a lot of work when uh, when you're kind of doing too many things behind the scene. So the challenge, all those expected lessons, I've shared already. So now I'm going to share with you the unexpected lessons, okay? And then I'm going to share with you at the end the rewards of of this entire past 35 days. So the unexpected lessons. First of all, I knew that consistency was always my weakest point. I was great. I'm always great at starting. I'm a great starter, but finishing, I'm not so good at. And the consistency has always been my biggest challenge if I were to have to do it by myself. And here's the good news for me when I started this show is that even though, yes, I'm by myself, technically, or with my guest experts, but I'm actually not by myself because I have to stay accountable to an audience that I'm building up. Even though the audience right now is very small, on purpose because I haven't done anything right yet. So this month, I'm going to start doing it right and see the difference. And so the next 35 days, there should be a huge difference in terms of subscribers, in terms of views, and in terms of virality. Because from the previous shows that I've already edited, we're gonna break it up into shorts and shorter segments between 15 to 20 minutes and even up to 45 minutes, but it won't be an hour and 15 minutes like I've been going on for the last 35 days. So the unexpected was the emotions that I was going through. The first 30 days was pretty okay. I didn't feel like a failure yet until the day when I missed the call due to my guest speaker not showing up for the right time because I didn't do the right follow-up process. And that's when I felt like, my fault. I should have known this. I should have done better. And that kind of spiraled into failures, and all the show has nobody, like we have like 3-4 subscribers on each channel, on the Vietnamese channel and the English channel. And so there was a lot of feeling like a failure. The emotions on that day. And then I realized that emotions are totally unreliable. And because I'm the type that do things by feelings, that I do it by mood, by my mood swings. If I feel like it, I do it. If I don't feel like it, I don't do it. This has always been my pattern. So this past 35 days, it kind of it was unexpected where wait a minute, I did a full 30 days without my emotions affecting me. Only on this Friday, which was day 32 or 33, that I actually fell off the wagon. So I went 32 days in a row without missing a day. Even though there were plenty of days where I felt, eh, today the content, that wasn't so good, or I felt like I'm not prepared enough for this talk. On the days that I was interviewing my guest experts, those are the best days because I don't have to be the smart one. On those days, they are the smart one. I just have to ask the questions that I really wanted to know for myself. And also, I just have to make them look good. And they are already good. So I don't have to do much. So on those days where I have the guests, those are the easy days. But on those days that I was teaching myself, man, there were days where I felt, nah, eesh, this is not going to be a good talk yet. So, but I still did it anyways. I still did it and I still see the pauses, the times when I totally repeated myself. And I also realized, man, I speak so fast. So that's the second lesson. The second unexpected lesson was, well, I knew I speak fast. That has always been known, but it was not until I watched my replays and especially when my VA edited my videos and then I watch it again. It was painful to watch myself. Oh, okay, so I've taught a lot and I have done a lot of interviews in the hundreds, but I've never listened to myself like this one. So far I've listened to myself for 3 episodes and every single one of them I spoke so fast to the point where it was hard for my VA to edit without making it choppy. So because I'm able to see it and hear it, see how fast I speak, hear how fast I speak. Now I have a better understanding or a better reminding system to speak slower. And I speak fast when I get excited. I speak fast when I'm like so totally excited. And so now I have to calm myself down whenever I feel excited about a topic or whenever I get too excited about something, then I would go faster. So I'm learning to slow down on purpose and sometimes add a pause, even though it might be too long. So I'm learning to add these things into my talk. So that'll be a learning curve. Another lesson, another unexpected lesson is that, man, I thought that, well, I was expecting that the fears or the butterflies would would these would decrease as I do this. But you know what? It hasn't. So in the last 35 days, the butterflies, the fear, it's still there. The only difference is before it was screaming a lot louder. So for example, I would have been like the fear would be loud and because I just ignore it in the sense that I ignore it, I acknowledge it, I can hear it, and I totally say, don't worry, we got this, we won't die. So I'm talking to myself pretty much. I'm talking to the fear. I acknowledge the fear, but I do it anyways. So it has learned that all that screaming doesn't stop me from doing it. So it has learned that it's wasting its energy screaming at me. So the voices is becoming softer, quieter. It has become mostly like, okay, don't mess this up. You're gonna look like a fool. It's now it's more like a whereas before it was like shit. Don't do this. You're gonna look like a fool. So that was the level before, and now it's more like a reminder. Don't mess it up. You're gonna look like a fool. So it's like it's getting softer and softer, but it's still there. So it doesn't go away. Okay, so that was a little bit unexpected in the sense that number one, I always thought that I'm a risk taker, and therefore on the surface I look like I'm very confident, but underneath there's all that fear is there. It's just that I hide it well. Just like when I was pregnant, I remember my belly, because I have the boy, so the belly is a bit pointy and it's very well compact, protruding, but it doesn't expand sideways. So if you were walking behind me, you wouldn't know I was pregnant. So most people, when they go to the front, they would see me pregnant, but as otherwise at the back, I would just look normal. So I hide it well. Just like same thing here with my fears. I hide it well, but it is there. Full pregnancy of the fear. Yeah. So and so I do see the voice of fear become softer, and it has become more of a before it was fighting against me, trying to stop me. And because now it has learned that it cannot stop me, and I'm going to do it anyways because I would rather fail, I would rather mess up and bomb than not do it. Except for those that one day where I felt like I couldn't, I couldn't, I couldn't recover. And here's one of the things that I've learned: whenever you are going through something hard, you can only share your wounds and your stories when you have healed from it. Because if you're still bleeding from the wound, if you're still bleeding from the hurt, then you cannot share that story powerfully. Because story is powerful only if there's a lesson from the story. Because otherwise, the story is meaningless. Because otherwise, you're going to just drag people down. And that's why I knew that on that Friday, I couldn't recover if I were to share that story, because emotionally, I was still at the bottom. But today, I know I can share because I bounced back already. But I still remember vividly that feeling, that emotions that I felt on that Friday when I felt like a failure. Okay, so uh, emotions your emotions are totally unreliable. So that's why don't don't follow your emotions. By the way, there's a big difference between emotions and your intuition, and this is a learned process. I have become more intuitive as I age, as I have more experience listening to my body, listening to my intuition. When I was young, I didn't know my body was telling me all these things, but I didn't know. I couldn't hear it, I couldn't feel it. But now I do. Perhaps because the body is sending so much more signals, not just on the intuition, but also on the pain here and there. And so I'm learning to listen to my body a lot more. And because of that, the intuition, the gut feeling, the heart, it's all becoming a lot more clearer to me as well. But I think that comes to us as we age, as we slow down, as we focus more on how we feel as we do these things. Because I don't know about you, but when I grew up, when I was in my 20s, man, I worry so much about what other people think of me. Do you? Do you remember when you were in your teens and early 20s? Do you remember how everything we do, even with friends, we try to please people so much? I know I did. I couldn't say no. Like, even if I wanted to not go to that party or not do this thing for this person, I was so afraid that they won't like me that I would go anyways. And sometimes I was putting myself at risk because I couldn't say no. There was one time, true story. My cousin and I were walking on the street. I forgot where we went, but we were just walking to the mall, I think. And from the bus stop to the mall, there was he's not a beggar, but he's a homeless person because he looked like one. And also he was he was a bit not very, uh, what's the word when people are focused and normal? He was a bit off. He was a bit off. And I remember when we were passing him at a red light or somewhere, I remember distinctively, he actually asked me to do something for him, to help him with something. And I remember I actually stopped and talked with him for a little while. And I even like shook his hand when I walked away after we had a quick chat. And I remember my cousin was so afraid for both of us because I was the older one. She was 2 years younger than me. And she was so afraid that I spoke to this stranger. Number one, I think I was 12 and she was 10 or 13. She was 11, something like that, like in our teens. And I remember I felt the fear too, but I didn't, but I couldn't say no to him. She would have ran, like my cousin wanted me to run with her, just run in the opposite direction instead of stopping and talking to this stranger who wasn't really himself. But I couldn't, not because I didn't fear him, but I was afraid I might hurt his feelings. Can you believe that? So I actually put myself at risk because I was afraid of hurting his feelings. So in my 20s, that was that. And then in my 40s, as in the next 20 years, there's a saying that we realize that nobody cares what we do. Nobody, no, no, actually, sorry, the true, how I butchered that. So let me phrase it properly. In our between 20 and 40, we finally realized that nobody is actually nobody cares about us. And so, but then because at that time frame, we are so busy with our own lives, with our own problems, with our own family, that we don't have time to please everyone anymore. And so we actually reduce all those things that we don't do for other people when we don't like it, when we don't feel like it. So we're actually more honest to ourselves between 20 and 40 because we just don't have time to please everyone anymore. And then in our 60s, 40s to 60s, we finally realize that nobody cares about us in the first place. They have their own problems. So even if we were to not show up, if we were to say no, they don't care. So all these 40 years, we've been worrying about disappointing other people, about hurting other people's feelings. When in reality, it's not a big deal to them to have you show up or not. So that's why in our 40s to 60 is where usually, and especially now that I've turning 50, I do realize that I don't do things that doesn't mean something to me anymore. I don't waste time going to concerts, going to parties, going to events that I have no enjoyment in it. And the different stages of my lives have have changed my interest and where I want to spend my time in. So that's why uh where was I? Where did did I don't know why I started on this sharing thing, but the last lesson that I shared was all the screaming, right? And the fear. Oh, that's the reason why I was sharing my young childhood and now how we can listen to our intuition a lot more. Okay, so that was a long way to share that point. So the next unexpected lesson that I've gotten only just in that last 35 days is I that we don't need clarity to get started. We get clarity when we start. When we get clarity by starting. And so for me, I have done this for 35 days. And I have so much more clarity of what this show is about, or at least what I want it to be about, and also who my audience is. Because if I didn't start at all, it would always be, I don't know, is it this person or next person? But you know what? Here's the truth. Because in the last 30 days, 35 days, I haven't done any proper channel optimization. So therefore, I still don't know who my right audience is. So the next 30 days, when I have done the right channel optimization, which you will see the difference in subscribers. You will see the difference in the views. Then I would even I would get a lot more clarity on who actually wants to watch. That's the second part. The first part is, who do I want to speak to? Who are my ideal audience that I actually want to share these lessons with? So there's two parts. Number one is who I wanted to share it to, and number two, who is actually watching. Because if A and B does not match up, then there's a lot more tweaking, right? So right now, so the next month is still a learning curve for me. Whereas in June, then the last month, we will see a lot more clarity for me. And I will share with you all of that as I get there. So the unexpected lesson was, and I knew this. I mean, I knew it on the theory level, but not on the actual experiential level. So I knew that you don't need clarity to get started, and you get clarity by starting. I knew that on the theoretical level, but after 35 days of starting and not having clarity when I started, and now I can see a lot more clarity of what I want, and also of what, well, the next month, of what the audience want. So now that becomes experiential wisdom versus just theories, theoretical, read it from a book, heard it from someone. Now it has my own experience, and I knew exactly what that means because I'm going through it myself. Not just in this, but also in other areas of life. It's just that in some other areas, the clarity was always requiring me to test. But to launch this show for the past 35 days, consistent daily talks, it gave me a different appreciation, a deeper appreciation for this thing, for the fact that you get clarity by starting. So now it has become a lot more, yeah, that is true. Spoken from my own experience. Okay, another unexpected lesson is discipline creates freedom. Now, this one was not expected at all. Even though I have heard of this, I have learned this from books, and I actually didn't agree. I didn't agree with it because I felt like, yes, discipline and systems creates freedom. I understand that. But for someone who values freedom a lot like me, it's really hard to stick to a routine, to stick to a system and be disciplined daily at the same time. And I struggled a lot with it, especially to start on time at 7. There were a few days where I started late, half an hour, and even an hour on one day, and then 3 days that I didn't do it. So there was that difficulty to stick with the right time. But I do see, and as I've done this for 35 days now, I do see the truth behind this concept that discipline creates freedom, because you stop questioning it. You stop debating it. You just do it. And with that decisiveness, with that determination, the freedom comes as a result of all of that discipline. And the discipline is not like the whole day. Because if it's a whole day, I would not last. See, that's the thing. There are other people who likes the routine. They want everything the same every day. It's kind of like they can do this with their eyes closed. No surprises, nothing new, because they like it like that. They want the security, they want the routine. I would die in that environment. I crave variety. I crave something new. So therefore, my discipline can only be a short time, for either for a short period. So that's why I only make this commitment for 90 days, not a full year. 90 days is my maximum. Initially, I wanted to do it for 30 days because 30 days was easier. And I knew it was easier. And it's already done. If it was the 30 days, I would have done it. I would have passed with 100% score, because on those 30 days, I did not miss anything. But I knew that my threshold, my breaking point was 90 days. I knew that was my threshold, my ceiling. And I wanted to break that. I want to break that so that I can actually grow and become, right? So your level might be different. Your level might be even higher than me, or your level could be lower, where your threshold is 30 days or even 7 days. Some people hate being on camera. Some people hate talking and doing these unprepared talks, just sharing. My notes from the share is pretty much a page where I just put down the bullet points of what I wanted to share. And because all these things that I wanted to share, it's just real, raw feelings and emotions and experiences that I've had. So I don't have to make up anything. I just have to retell the story. And I have to learn how to tell the story in a way that makes an impact, that lands, that actually yields value versus just words. And all of this is part of my journey. All of this is part of my growth. So the discipline creates freedom part. Man, I was very against it before. Now I see that I can do it. I was very against it, but now I can see I can do it, but for a limited time. So for me, this time that I'm doing this show, it's actually 7 to 8 mountain time. So I pretty much have that time reserved for this talk. And of course, another hour or half an hour before that to prepare the description, to prepare all the uh, labeling and streaming, setting up, and all that stuff. So, but still, I knew that because I have decided to do it and to follow boundary, that discipline now creates the freedom for me in the sense that number one, it's going to build my freedom system. Number two, it stops me from backing out. It stops me from choices because the biggest problem when making a decision is having too many choices. A, B, C, D, E. That's not good. If you can limit it down to just two choices, maximum three choices, A, B, C, this is where it makes it easy to make a decision. Yes or no. Maybe is really bad. So that's why when I make an offer, I would rather have a no than a maybe. Because a no is a very easy decision to accept. They're not ready for this. I'm not. Okay, so the offer is right now. And what that means is either the problem that I'm solving or the offer that I'm presenting is not at the right time for them. Or they're just not interested in that solution. So either not at the right time or it's not something they're looking for. So knowing that is very easy to let go. But those people who says maybe, man, that drags on. Because a maybe means, okay, should I follow up 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, or what? So the maybes are the one that drains you. So not just for the seller, but also for you as a decision maker. Either choose yes or no and go with it. There's no right or wrong. In fact, every decision you make right now is the right decision for you at this time. The no's are also good. The yes are also good because at this moment, this is the best decision that you can take right now. It's just that the maybes are the ones that are just going to drag on your energy. It's just going to drain your energy. We don't want that. Okay? So that's why when I say discipline creates freedom, it takes away the maybes. It takes away the, maybe I'll do it later. No, it just makes, I just have to do it. I just have to show up and get it done. That's it. So that's why this was a bit unexpected for me to feel the level of freedom when I choose to just stick with it. 7 to 8, I'll be here doing the show. It was easy with another guest because I have to show up for them. It was a lot harder. It was so much harder when I was doing it by myself. Everything is that. It's all. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I have a few more lessons to share. Um, yeah, and this one I actually didn't know how long it's going to take because it depends on how much I want to talk about it. Okay, another lesson, another unexpected lesson is that the real cost for me doing this show, it was not time, it was not money. Money, it didn't cost me anything. All the tools and all the speakers I bring in, they're coming to my show because they're my friends and they just want to give. They didn't charge me anything, even though normally these are all experts that would have charged a lot of money if you were to hire them to do Q&A with them. But so it didn't cost me any money. It didn't it cost me time. Yes, but that was not the real cost. The real cost was actually my ego. My ego got hit a lot because when I was talking, when I was sharing, and anytime I have judgments about, oof, that was not good. Oh, you spoke too fast. It was painful to watch myself again. The ego got hit a lot. It was so painful to watch myself. And usually we're the hardest on ourselves. Usually. 99.9% we're the hardest on ourselves because other people, they don't know if we said something wrong, or they don't know if we bombed or something, because they just thought, oh, that was part of the plan. So they're a lot more forgiving than yourself. And of course there will always be trollers. Trollers are people who prefer to be in the stand watching and giving criticism or feedback than playing on the rink. The bystanders. There will always be those people. And it's your job, it's my job to protect my ego from that. It gets hits a lot. Now, my ego gets hit by myself a lot more than bystanders, because the truth is I haven't seen comments yet, because nobody has seen my videos yet. The more people sees it, there will be more feedback, there will be more comments, and there will be more bad comments, trollers. And I know at that time my ego would be hit a lot more, because now it's just me hitting myself. But I once learned this from Jack Canfield. He said, until you have haters, you're nobody. So until you're only popular when you have haters. And so I'm prepared that I'll get to the point where, as more people watching, I'll be getting a lot more hater comments, and also a lot more uh, who are you to do this kind of feedback. And so the ego gets hit. That's the real cost of doing this, especially when I'm not being paid for this channel or for this show. And so the ego, there's a lot of, like, it has become extremely logical. It has questioned, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why not just create courses and sell it? Why are you creating a channel to share something that you could have sold for? And you know what? The answer that I gave it is that knowledge is free. In fact, what I share is probably not as good as ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, because AI has all the answers for you now. Of course, you have to verify it, but AI gives you better answers than me. But it does not give you the real experiences. AI has no real experiences. AI is only theory. AI is only uh, theoretical, the best case scenario. But all the challenges, people are stuck not because they don't know the answer. The answer, they know. I know I should not eat sweets. I should not uh, eat after 8 p.m. But I still do. And I still eat sweets because I crave it. I drink Coke. I know what I need to do, but I don't do it. I can't help it. And AI can give you all the answer you want. It can give you the really good answers, but it will not help you overcome the challenges because it hasn't gone through any of that. It's only theoretical. And that's why, for me, for my coaching programs, the the theory, the teaching should be free. It's the hand holding, it's the answering the questions, it's the overcoming the barriers, breaking the barriers with you. That's where the value is. And that's what is in the courses, that's what is in the programs. So, this is the reason why I'm sharing a lot of free stuff on here. And you know what? There's a ton of other people sharing a lot of cool stuff on YouTube. One thing in terms of sharing information, sharing knowledge. Knowledge is useless if not implemented. And the problem is a lot of us knows too much but do too little. And I'm guilty as charged. Uh, I'm not above that. I'm guilty as charged. We learn too much. We know too much, but we do squat. And that's the difference of watching and doing. And when you actually do, that's when you actually know, holy shit, this is hard. Holy shit, this doesn't work. Why does it look so simple when you watch them? Like this guitar, you watch the professionals play and you just feel like, oh, they make it look so easy. And when you touch it, your fingers hurt, your right hand is so clumsy. Nothing works until you actually do it. And that's why the hand holding, the coaching, all of that is where the real value is, not information, not knowledge. And especially if you have an AI tool, it'll give you all the knowledge you need. Okay? So, so the real cost is your ego. That's the unexpected lesson that that I felt in the past 35 days. There's enough ego hitting, there's enough ego beating daily that if I don't know how to turn it into, well, this is the worst that I could ever be. It only gets better from here. If I cannot turn it into that. And by the way, if I don't do this now, if I don't suck now, I will never get better. So because I keep that in mind, and that's why the ego check is in. There's an ego check there. So the ego knows that this is part of the process. This is part of the process. It'll be beat up until it no longer cares. Because right now it still cares a lot. And I don't know when it'll stop caring. Honestly, because I haven't gone that far yet. And I do have a high tolerance for being me, being myself authentically, in spite of what might other people think. But still, the ego, it's still pretty big right now. Because I still feel hurt. I still feel sad when I receive a bad comment, or when I hear something that people don't like me or my actions, even though I might be misunderstood, there's still the ego beat up. But you know what? Yeah, I haven't gotten over that yet. However, I have learned in the past 35 days that the real cost is the ego beating. And if you're not strong to actually know how to soothe this ego, and let it know that we can't get any better unless we're willing to suck at it in the beginning. The ego is beginning to understand that. And the ego is beginning to accept that, okay, that makes sense. And it's just like that voice of fear. It's getting softer and softer. So the ego, the beating, is becoming softer and softer. It is becoming softer and softer. Yeah. Okay. The last unexpected lesson that I got in the last 35 days is I'm not just building a show. The show is is what I'm building, but I'm not just building a show. I'm building Quinn Vo 2.0. I'm building another version of me. And I'm building a new a new self that I've never done. I've never gone. I've never done 35 days of sharing daily like this. And now the commitment is 90 days. So there's still 2 more months coming. And I don't know how well I would keep up with that. But you know what? I'm actually pretty proud of the last 35 days, the last 35 episodes. With this being 17 in English and 18 in Vietnamese. And then tomorrow it'll be English, so that'll be 18. So we'll be equal tomorrow. And I'm actually very I was surprised. I was surprised at how simple it is to throw my hat over the fence and just launch. And to purposely bomb the first month and doing it minimally, not doing the right optimization. And so everything is kind of happening just as expected. But these lessons that I just shared with you, both expected and unexpected, are I'm glad that I'm recording it, that I get to watch this again a month from now or 2 months from now and still remember these emotions, these feelings. Because one of the things that I really regretted was when I was having my children when they were younger, like 1, 2 year old. Oh, they're so cute. Everything they say, this I call them my source of entertainment. And everything they say and how I felt during that time, breastfeeding and not breastfeeding my first child, and the difference between the two babies. They were 18 months apart, but they're so different. And all of that, I thought I would never forget this feeling. But you know what? Now I can't remember most of it. It's like I remember a few moments, but not a lot. And I wish I had recorded them more. I wish I did record a lot of them, but then my computer crashed, so I lost a lot of my videos when they were young. So that is another regret. But I didn't write down. I didn't keep record of my feelings, of my emotions as I was going through that process when they were toddlers, because they were so cute at that time. And so same thing with my show. This is a baby right now, 35 days old. It's crying for milk and pooping and and demanding my attention every day. Ah, such a needy baby. And no one else can help me. My nanny couldn't help. At least I had a nanny for my babies. At least my husband helped. This one, they're not here. It's just me taking care of this baby. So it is a lot of work. It is it is a challenge. And I'm very grateful that I have some viewers following and encouraging me and helping me um, become better at this. I want to thank you for following me for the last 35 days. The next stage of this channel would be different in the sense where I think I'm just gonna uh, be a lot more intentional. I have to do a lot more optimization for the channel. That means more work because now it's not just going live. It's the editing, it's the all the optimization process behind it. So there's more work, but at least there'll be documentations of the growth, and so you can see what it takes. And I hope that whoever is watching this, if you are planning to launch something, if you are waiting for the ducks to line up, for the stars to line up, it'll never happen. And clarity, you don't get clarity. You don't need clarity to start. You need to start, and then you get clarity. So I sincerely hope that me showing you being a role model, doing this, and exposing my kimono behind the scenes and all the results and the emotions behind it, I hope that it'll help you to overcome your fear. Just like the fear will never go away, it just becomes a little softer. And as long as you have someone rooting for you, then most likely you'll be able to do it a lot easier. I'm very lucky. I'm surrounded by amazing people in my family as well as friends and colleagues who are growing, and I feel like, oh, if I don't catch up, I'll be left behind. So I'm kind of like just running right behind them, and very grateful to be able to bring on so many experts to the show. Amazing people. That's it. This is the recap, the report for the last 35 days of the Becoming Show. And I will see you tomorrow on the next episode.